Today we'll be hearing from a party looking to push back the frontiers of government. The Libertarian Party was founded in 2008 and believes that the state should be as small as possible. They argue that the only real role for government is national defence and maintaining the rule of law. The party wants to see MPs replaced with Swiss-style direct democracy and referendums. They say the welfare state is unsustainable and is essentially just borrowing money from unborn generations. In their 2017 manifesto, they have committed to abolishing a range of taxes, including income, inheritance and capital gains tax. In principle, they believe in the free movement of people, provided migrants receive no state support. Well, we've been joined in the studio by the party's deputy leader, Will Taylor. Welcome to the Daily Politics. You say you believe in a small state and abolishing most taxes, but you propose a Gordon Brown tax to pay off the national debt. So are you just replacing one set of taxes with one very large one?
It's a really good point you make, actually, and it's something that we've wrestled with. One of the key principles in libertarianism is that not only do we have freedom, but we also have to take responsibility. And I think it's an important question that we have a generation that has been clamouring for greater and greater public services, but has in a way also been demanding that somebody else pay for those public services as well. And the result of that is a large national debt in the region of £1.5 trillion. So
right.
There is a question of how do we as a generation take responsibility for that?
So you just still want one big tax, which in a way may just be an accumulation of all the taxes we have at the moment. So I don't see the change.
Yes, that certainly might be an option for us. The difficulty is that how do we pay off this debt? Do we pay it off now or do we leave it to our children? That is a question we're wrestling.
All right, well, let's have a look at the question. How would you pay it off? Well, you're suggesting a 10% corporation tax, which is obviously considerably lower than it is at the moment. How would that help pay off the deficit and the debt if we brought corporation tax down to 10%?
It's a good question. It boils down to a simple ethical principle, and the ethical principle is that each individual works hard and earns money, and we all have a right to own our life and do what we want with our time, provided we cause no harm to other people. So from that ethical principle, we always argue that we should reduce the level of taxation as much as humanly possible.
But paying off the debt at the same time. I mean, you are installing a great deal of faith in individuals to work to the model that you've just outlined. Is it really credible?
Well, we believe that each individual has to take some responsibility for themselves. Now, at the end of the day, there is an element of choice, whether each individual works or not. Do we as a generation take responsibility for the deficit and pay it off as quickly as we can, or do we leave it for future generations?
As it happens, is an interesting question because of the way the Conservatives in their manifesto, having said under George Osborne, will eliminate the deficit by 2015. Oh no, we'll leave it a few years longer till 2029, and now it's 2025. Does Will have a point?
Well, look, there's a really interesting overlap between the Libertarian Party and bits of the Conservative Party. There are people who want to minimise as much of the obligations that people have to pay.
And will they be disappointed by that manifesto?
But yes, but what will happen, what is interesting is that Theresa May yesterday set herself against the Libertarian Party's sort of philosophy and that wing of her own party by saying what you've got to understand is that nobody lives in a vacuum. Everybody owes whatever success they have to the society that they come from. We have debts and obligations to the community and the state and society that produces and helps us become successful individuals. We have to pay for those obligations and debts to society and community. So Theresa May yesterday explicitly rejected any kind of libertarian philosophy in the way that she wants to run the Conservative Party. So it's interesting whether or not that might push some people out of the Conservative and more towards the Libertarian point of view.
Right, well, and if they are upset about it, they're keeping it private at the moment, some people within the Conservative Party. You oppose the idea of a welfare state. Why?
In general, I think, well, it boils down again to an ethical principle that we work hard, we earn our own money, and therefore we believe that we should have more freedom and choice in how that money is spent.
But what about people who couldn't afford healthcare or school system if you went private with the schooling?
Well, actually, we're not suggesting that we do go private with schooling.
What about inequality? I mean, power isn't just a matter of the state, it's also a matter of wealth, including private wealth and corporate wealth. I mean, don't we need the state to provide some kind of challenge to sources of power that are to do with private wealth?
Yeah, I agree that there are lots of problems in society, and the Libertarian Party, like all of the parties, wants to solve those problems. We are effectively on the same side. What we argue about is how. And basically we ask a very simple question. Is it possible to solve those problems by giving people more freedom and more choice? Now, sometimes it isn't. And in that case, there may be a role for government. But if it is possible, is it not right to at least try?
All right, Will Taylor, on that question being posed, we'll let you go. Thank you.